Hello, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, evening. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to Technical Session 6C. Myself, Ashutosh Goyal, and this session will be moderated by me. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation and GR Scholastic, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the International Conference on Technological Intelligence and Business Strategies, TIBS 2026, Manila, Philippines. This conference has been organized in hybrid mode. The physical event was held on 22nd June in Manila, Philippines, and the virtual event is being held through Zoom from 23rd to 24th June 2026. I hope you will enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive sessions throughout the day. In this session, we have 8 presentations. Each presenter will be given 12 minutes for the presentations and 3 minutes for question and answers. On 10 minutes, I will raise a gentle reminder. There is another request to all the participants that you all stay connected with us till the closing remarks. If you have any query or update, then you can write it to me in the chat box. Just before we start the session, I would like to introduce you all to the chairs for the session, Professor Carolina D. Ditan and Dr. Samiksha Shukla. Professor Carolina D. Ditan is a professor at Jose Rizal University with extensive experience in higher education. She has contributed significantly to teaching, research, and academic leadership. Her work is dedicated to advancing scholarly excellence, fostering student development, and promoting innovation in education and research. Thank you so much for joining us today, ma'am. I request you to kindly say a few words of encouragement to our participants. Ma'am, could you please try to join again? I think there's some network problem at your end.
First, we would like to give the instructions and reminder. All right, each presenter is given only 15 minutes. Within 12 minutes will be devoted for presentation, and 3 minutes will be allowed for the question and answer portion. Kindly also put your cell phone in a silent mode so it cannot interrupt your discussion or presentation.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Now, moving to our next chair, Dr. Samiksha Shukla. Dr. Samiksha Shukla is a professor and dean at Global Academy of Technology, Bangalore, India. With over 20 years of academic and research experience, her research interests include computation security, artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, and big data. Her core expertise lies in computation security, artificial intelligence, and healthcare-related products. Thank you so much for joining us today, ma'am. Now, without further ado, let's start with the presentations. First, I would like to call upon Sir Vishwa Kumresh to present his paper on the title An Interpenetrable Warning to Action Layer for Multi-Echelon Supply Chain Twins. Do we have you here with us, sir?
So, hello everyone. My name is Vishwa Kumaresh, and today I'm presenting an interpretable warning to action layer for multi-echelon supply chain digital twins. So, the central question in this paper is simple. If a digital twin can see early supply chain stress, how can it turn that warning into a bounded replenishment action before the full cost spike appears? So, the problem is simple. Consider a supply chain delay where lead time stretches from 2 periods to 5. The retailer sees inventory pressure and orders more. The wholesaler reacts to those orders, and then the disruption reacts. And finally, the factory sees the amplified upstream signal. So this is the bullwhip problem. In operational terms, the signal is local, but the reaction is delayed, and the upstream response can become much larger than the original disturbance. So the paper focuses on closing that gap between early telemetry and timely action. So here are the research questions and contributions. The question is, when should an existing controller switch into a protected operating mode because telemetry suggests a disruption regime? So the paper contributes 3 pieces. Firstly, it builds a calibrated regime risk monitor from rolling demand, inventory, backlog, order, and lead time telemetry. Second, it maps that risk into 5 auditable replenishment modes. And third, it evaluates the method on an untouched lockbox with cost, bullwhip, service, precision, and intervention burden all reported together. So here is the warning to action layer. The proposed layer sits above the replenishment controller. So it reads telemetry, computes warning features, estimates a calibrated disruption probability, chooses a mode, and then changes only a small set of controlled parameters. So this is important because the method is not replacing the controller with an unconstrained optimizer. So it is supervised when the controller should become more protective, and it logs why the choice was made. So that is the interpretability. So coming to the telemetry and the warning features. So the monitor uses three feature groups. Standard warning features include variance, autocorrelation, and change contrast. Cross echelon features include inventory dispersion and rolling bullwhip. And finally, nonlinear descriptors summarize irregularity and local divergence in the operational stress signal. So the stress signal combines demand, backlog, and lead time pressure, because lead time disruption may be visible in backlog and lead time data before it becomes obvious in retail demand or total cost. So here we have the risk score and mode selection. So the inference model is intentionally small. So it is gradient boosted depth one terms with flat scaling. So this gives a calibrated probability while keeping the feature effects inspectable. So if the probability can stay below 0.55, the system remains in quiet mode or normal mode. So if it crosses the threshold, then mode selection uses the type of pressure observed, be it demand shift pressure or lead time pressure, backlog pressure, or recovery pressure. And this changes the modes. And we have five replenishment modes. So the table is the core action interface. So quiet mode keeps the normal smoothing. Demand shift mode tracks the changing demand. Delay shock mode buffers inventory and tightens order caps. Backlog instability mode damps the response before backlog becomes an upstream spike. Recovery mode handles remaining backlog after the main contrast has fallen. And across all these modes, the system only changes responsiveness, safety factor, and order cap. So the action is bounded and auditable. So that's what we can see in the equation here as well. Coming to the lockbox evaluation protocol. So the evaluation uses a four echelon serial chain over 180 periods. So there are 12 disruption scenarios, which is grouped into six mechanisms that we have tested. So the split is important here, which is the seeds 0 to 15 train the monitor, seeds 14 to 47 tune thresholds and mode parameters, and finally, seats 48 to 95 is the unseen lockbox, so we can test the model. So it gives us a total of 576 unmatched observation. And the comparison includes 10 baselines, including the action matched linear guard, classical change detector, HMM, and an oracle for a reference. So here we can see the results of the same. So the headline result is that against the action matched linear guard. So on the logbox, the proposed policy reduces total cost by 15.2% with 95% bootstrap interval from 12.1 to 18.2%. It also reduces the bullwhip by 44.5% with an interval from 39.4 to 49.2%. So the paired wins are also favorable here with 378 out of the 576 for cost and 416 for the bullwhip, with both signs tests below 0.11 as well. So here is a comparison table across the different policies that we have tested. So the figure shows this broad comparison. And our proposed regime-aware policy has the lowest feasible cost and bullwhip. Of course, Oracle is lower, but it just uses true disruption windows, so it's not deployable in real scenarios. The trade-off is also visible here in that the cycle service level is slightly lower than the linear guard, and the policy also intervenes more often. So we can read this as a cost and stability improvement with some operational trade-off. And where do these gains come from? So the mechanism table explains the aggregate result. The largest gains come from lead time disruption and backlog cascades. So in lead time shocks, cross echelon inventory dispersion can move before the retail demand variance becomes informative. So it gives the policy time to buffer and cap the orders. But in backlog cascades, the backlog instability mode damps responses before a local shortage becomes an upstream spike. So these compound shocks improve only modestly because simpler guards can also detect these events reasonably well. And naturally, the question is whether the policy wins just because it intervenes more. So the random and periodic matched control answer that, and they spend intervention effort without warning information, and the costs are much higher than the proposed policy as well. So this supports the timing claim, where the value is not just intervention frequency, but intervening when the telemetry points to the right mechanism. Finally, the deployment interpretation and the limits. So for deployment, the value is auditability. A planner can inspect the risk probability, selected mode, parameter change, intervention cost, and realized outcome. So the limitations are also clear. So the study is a synthetic and single product, and public replay and deep bullwhip style checks help to test the probability, but they do not replace the field validation. So future work should move to multi-product non-Cilian networks with ERP telemetry and human approval rules. So finally, I will just close with the five key takeaways. So first is the problem is delayed action, not missing telemetry. Second, the contribution is a calibrated monitor plus a bounded action table. Third, on the untouched lockbox, the method reduces cost by 15.2% and the total bullwhip by 44.5% compared to the linear guard. Fourth, the strongest gains appear for lead time shocks and backlog cascade. And finally, the deployment value is auditability. So a more, a reason, parameter change, outcome record, all these are auditable. So thank you. This is my work, and I'm open to any questions.
Hi Vishwa, it was nice presentation. Uh, I am yet to understand, like, what are the is there any machine learning model you have incorporated here? Hello.
I'm sorry, what are the machine learning models that we have incorporated in this study? Is
Huh,
that
huh.
okay? So the primary ML model that we have used is gradient boosting decision stumps along with flat scaling. And the
Hmm.
reason for this, we have kept it intentionally small, is because we want to deploy this in real world scenarios. So
Hmm.
we need something that is really fast and really interpretable as well. So we have used this gradient boosting. It takes rolling telemetry features such as demand, inventory, backlog, orders, lead time, etc., and it produces that disruption risk score. And based on the risk score, we have the different modes that we put the digital twin
Hmm. 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 Hmm.
in. And
Okay.
plat scaling is also present here, and that is just to convert this probability into a value so that the auditability comes in.
So, have you compared your model with any, like, any benchmark model?
Yes, so we have compared it with some of the other policies, and you can see the results in the table over here. So
Hmm.
what we have found was that compared to we have optimized for cost and bullwhip. So compared to some of the linear guards or these HMM, random, etc., we are doing better, which is the 15.2% in cost and 44.5% bullwhip. But
Hmm. Hmm.
also,
Hmm.
we have a slightly lower cycle service time, and we have much higher interventions. So the way we propose is that we take a call on what are we optimizing for, or what is the business optimizing for. If it is the cost and if it is the bullwhip, then our policy would be better. If it is something else, such as cycle time, or if you want lower interventions, etc., we have other models as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Who will be the beneficiary of your study?
I'm sorry, ma'am. Who will be the
Who are
beneficiary?
the beneficiaries or who will benefit from your study?
Okay, so the way we have placed ourselves is that we are adding a layer on top of the regime risk card. So if any supply chain, yes. So if any supply chain wants to use this model, they can do it. So it would be supply chain planners, operation managers, or organization that manage these sort of multi-echelon supply chains. And we do have interpretability, and we have this warning to action layer, right? So it sits above the current replenishment controller. So we don't want to disrupt the existing supply chain, but rather we want to augment it using using this policy that we have proposed.
I would like to call Ma'am Vara Kaur Potharin to present her paper on the title Applying learning analytics to university students' eye health risk, a descriptive and diagnostic exploration using social media usage data. Do we have you here with us, ma'am?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Varapon Potirin from the University of Phayao, Thailand. Today, I would like to present my research entitled Applying Learning Analytics to University Student Eye Health Risks Using Social Media Usage Data. This study focuses on understanding how social media usage behavior may be related to eye health risks among university students. In modern higher education, social media is no longer just for entertainment. It has become an essential tool for academic communication, group collaboration, and self-regulated learning. However, this content screen time has led to a hidden health issues called computer vision syndrome (CVS), staring at digital screen for long period without breaks often causes dry eyes, headaches, blurred vision, and physical fatigue among students. From learning analytics perspective, most academic dashboards today focus only on grades and exam scores. There is a major gap in tracking students' digital well-being when we look at previous students. In Thailand, such as research by Wongsan and College in 2022, we find that up to 81% of Thai university students in online learning environment suffer from CVS symptoms. This shows how serious the issue is in our current academic context. To address this problem, we developed the conceptual framework shown on this slide. We collected four main types to behavioral data, social media habits, learning style based on the Felder Silverman model, practical environment, and eye symptoms. We then analyze this data using two methods, descriptive analytics to summarize behavior and skin for CVS, and diagnostic analytics to find the root causes of eye health risks. The goal is to create statistic recommendation for both university and individual students. For our methodology, this study involved 44 undergraduate students from the University of Phayao. Data was collected using online questionnaire containing 82 questions to accurately screen and assess the level of eye health risks. We utilize a standardized tool known as the CVS-Q Computer Vision Syndrome Questionnaire. Let's look at the descriptive results regarding social media habits. The data show that Instagram is the most popular platform used by 97.7% of the participants. Interestingly, 52.3% of the students scored through social media last night. Specifically, after 8 p.m. Additionally, 43.2% spend more than 6 hours a day on these platforms. The primary purpose of using is entertainment and relaxation, accounting for 88.6% of the respondents. When we look at the overall CVS risk profiles, the majority of students, or 65.9%, fall into the low risk category. However, there are still students who belong to the medium and high risk category. This means that's why most students are currently safe and present of moderate and high risk cases indicates that eye health is an issue we cannot afford to ignore in the long run. Moving on to the specific breakdown of CVS symptoms students experience while using skin, the numbers are quite significant. The most common symptom is watery eye at 65.9%, followed by eye soreness or pain at 59.1%. Additionally, 54.5% of mobile users report high sensitivity to light, and another 64.5% experience neck and shoulder pain, which is this slide highlights the core of our diagnostic analysis, which identify the key behavioral texture for CVS risk. We found that first, the strongest risk factor is risky sitting posture, such as burning or learning throat skin at 58.8%. The second is viewing skin below eye, level at 53.3%, which strain neck muscle and changes pupil focus. Third, next is excessive screen time of over 6 hours a day at 52.6%. Fourth, finally, nocturnal social scrolling in the dark after 8 p.m. account for 52.2%. This proves that eye risk is caused not just by how long we use screens, but how we use them particularly. Based on these findings, we propose strategic action on two levels. First, at the institutional level, universities should expand their analytics beyond grades to monitor student digital well-being. Academic platform could include built-in eye break reminders or night mode themes to reduce eye strain. Second, at the personal level, we should promote wellness programs that teach the 20-20-20 rule, which means every 20 minutes look 20 feet away for 20 seconds, and encourage students to maintain a proper skin distance of more than 30 centimeters. By expanding the learning analysis into health, we can better understand digital behavior and protect student well-being. Thank you for your time and attention.
Ms. Waraporn, I think because in your recommendation rather, you mentioned about the administrator or the school will be monitoring the students. But I guess they will have very little monitoring that they can do because the students are mostly at home. So I think you have to work hand in hand with parents or the guardians of the students because they are the one that can directly see and monitor the time viewing and the use of the social media by the students. While faculty or teachers will have only very few times that they can see the students using their social media. That's it. Thank you. That is a recommendation. This is not a question. That is a recommendation. Okay?
Thank you.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, ma'am. Now moving to our next presenter, I would like to call upon Sir Mariel Leo Violeta to present his paper on the title Blockchain-Based Academic Credential Issuance and Verification Using Hyperledger Fabric in Higher Education Institutions. Do we have you here with us, sir?
Hello. Good day, everyone. Good day, everyone. I am Ariel Leo T. Violeta from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Manila, Philippines. Today, I will present my study entitled Blockchain-Based Academic Credential Issuance and Verification Using Hyperledger Fabric in Higher Education Institutions. This research study focused on developing a permissioned blockchain framework that enables secure, tamper-resistant, and efficient academic credential issuance and verification using Hyperledger Fabric. Academic credentials such as diplomas, certificates, and transcripts remain essential proof of educational achievement. However, traditional credential management systems face several challenges. They are vulnerable to document forgery, unauthorized modification, and inefficient verification procedures. Verification often requires manual processing, which may result in delays and additional costs. To address these issues, blockchain technology offers a decentralized and tamper-resistant approach for managing and verifying academic records. Among available blockchain platforms, Hyperledger Fabric is suitable for educational institutions because it provides permissioned access and privacy controls. The primary objective of this study is to design and evaluate a blockchain-based academic credential issuance and verification system for higher educational institutions. The proposed solution integrates Hyperledger Fabric, cryptographic hashing, and off-chain cloud storage to improve security, authenticity, privacy, and operational efficiency. To evaluate user acceptance, the study uses the technology acceptance model or TAM, which focus on perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use. The contribution of this research is that it moves beyond conceptual discussions and presents framework evaluated within an actual higher education environment in the Philippines. The literature shows that traditional credential systems remain vulnerable to fraud and inefficient verification processes. Previous studies have demonstrated that blockchain can improve credential authenticity and it can support secure verification. However, public blockchain platforms often face challenges related to transaction fees, unrestricted participation, and scalability. Hyperledger Fabric addressed these concerns through permissioned access, identity management, and privacy controls. Despite growing interest in blockchain for education, limited studies have evaluated Hyperledger Fabric-based credential systems in operational higher education environments, particularly in the PUP or Polytechnic University of the Philippines. And this research aims to address that gap. This study employed a quantitative descriptive research design. The respondents consisted of 40 registrar personnel from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, selected through purposive sampling. Participants were first provided with a system demonstration showing credential issuance and blockchain verification. After the demonstration, they completed a survey using a 5-point Likert scale, and the collected data were analyzed using the weighted mean, frequency distribution, and category mean analyses. The evaluation focused on security, credential verification, operational efficiency, and accessibility. The figure presents the architecture of the blockchain-based academic credential issuance and verification system using Hyperledger Fabric. The system consists of 5 layers: the user layer, presentation layer, application layer, storage layer, and blockchain layer. Users such as registrars, students, and the credential verifier interact with the system through a dedicated portal. And these portals connect to application modules responsible for authentication, credential management, diploma issuance, and verification. To improve scalability, actual credential files are stored in cloud storage, while only their cryptographic hashes and metadata are recorded on the blockchain. The blockchain layer is powered by Hyperledger Fabric, which uses certificate-based authentication, smart contracts, and distributed ledgers to ensure secure and tamper-resistant transactions. During credential issuance, the system generates a hash of the credential and records that on the blockchain. During verification, the submitted credential is compared with the blockchain record. If the hashes match, the credential is verified as authentic. Overall, the architecture combines blockchain security, access control, and off-chain storage to provide a secure academic credential management platform. The operational flow begins when the registrar approves a credential for issuance. The system generates a cryptographic hash of the document and stores the actual file securely in cloud storage. The corresponding hash is then recorded on the Hyperledger Fabric blockchain ledger. Students can access and share their credentials using the secured link. When a verifier submits a credential, the system compares the hash with the blockchain record, and if the hashes match, the credential is confirmed as authentic. Importantly, privacy is preserved because external verifiers only receive verification results and they can access limited information. So why Hyperledger Fabric? Hyperledger Fabric was selected because it aligns well with institutional requirements. Unlike public blockchains, Fabric provides permission participation, which allows only authorized users to access the network. It supports identity management and certificate-based authentication. Fabric also uses smart contracts known as chain code to automate credential issuance and verification. In addition, it avoids cryptocurrency transaction fees while maintaining security, privacy, scalability, and governance. These characteristics make Hyperledger Fabric highly suitable for higher educational environments. The evaluation results indicate strong acceptance of the system. The highest rated indicator was credential verification with a mean score of 4.60. Perceived usefulness obtained an overall mean of 4.48, while perceived ease of use achieved an overall mean of 4.38. Both were interpreted as strongly agreed, and these findings suggest that respondents viewed the system as secure, efficient, reliable, and user-friendly. For perceived usefulness, respondents agreed that the platform improves security, verification, and operational efficiency. The combination of cryptographic hashing, immutable blockchain records, and permissioned access controls increased confidence in credential integrity. For perceived ease of use, respondents indicated that the system is accessible and flexible, and the platform can be accessed across locations and devices and can adapt to future institutional requirements. Overall, the findings demonstrate strong practical acceptance of the proposed solution within the studied environment. In conclusion, this study demonstrates that Hyperledger Fabric can provide a secure, scalable, and reliable infrastructure for academic credential management. The proposed system successfully addressed challenges related to credential fraud, verification delays, and centralized record management. However, the study focused on a single institution and primarily evaluated user perception rather than large-scale deployment performance. So future work may include interoperability, testing across institutions, performance benchmarking, scalability, and integration with student information systems and databases. And these improvements can further support the broader adoption of blockchain technology in higher education. These are the key references that supported the study and the development of the proposed framework. So thank you for your time and attention. I would be happy to answer any questions.
So it was nice presentation and a good idea. The thing is, when we move from the traditional system to blockchain, there is a high infrastructure requirement. So, have you considered that?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, this is for testing. However, if the institution decides to adopt this, there will be a lot of discussions, and they need to consider a lot of things regarding the procedures and the policy or the current policy that the institution has. However, this is an early step, no, toward the future of the systems that we have right now, because this the use of blockchain has several benefits for the institution, such as transparency, security, of course, and to prevent the forgery of the documents as well. So there will be a lot of things that need to do to transition from traditional to a blockchain-based system, but it can be done, ma'am.
So, you will be migrating from the legacy system to blockchain. So, what would be the probable challenges you have anticipated?
The data that are stored in cloud, um, so this is an off-chain. So the documents will be stored off-chain. That means we have the cloud storage for the document or for other data. The transaction, let's say the registrar issue a diploma or certificate. Well, the transaction and the metadata will be stored on the blockchain. So that's the only data that needs to be stored on the blockchain for verification as well. Hence, it can easily adapt with the current system that we have, because the data or the database will still be off-chain or cloud-based.
My question on my end. Congratulations for a very detailed report. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc Carolina.
Thank you for your presentation, sir. Now, moving on to our next presenter, I would like to call Ma'am Bhagya Lakshmi to present her paper on the title Customer Awareness and Adoption of Green Banking Initiatives in India, an Empirical Study. Do we have you here with us, ma'am?
Hello, sir. Am I audible? I'm here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me share my presentation. So, good afternoon, everyone. Here is my presentation on customer awareness and adoption of green banking initiatives in India, an empirical study. And this is the agenda for presentation. And starting with the introduction, as we all know, like we are moving towards to create a sustainable environment now. So banks being a very good projector for this financial growth and which is contributing more towards this economic development, they have a major role to move towards a sustainable environment. So in order to move towards sustainability and to push towards the sustainable development goals, green banking has been defined, and RBI has introduced the green banking policy initiatives in 2007. So since 2007, banks always makes or push paperless banking, digital payments, and also go for some green financing options. They are introducing some solar powered systems, everything, energy efficient systems. So everything is done from the banking sector. But the thing is, from the preliminary study, it is understood that most of them, most of the customers we approached were aware of the green banking initiatives done, and they use e-banking services also. But actually, they are not able to link this e-banking to green banking. And they cite, so we just got to know that they cite this lack of practical understanding. So there arises a key question like, why does this high awareness not translate into this intentional green adoption? They should have that awareness. So the focus of the study is just to know investigate the awareness and usage rates. Are they aware about the term? Are they aware about the initiatives? And how do they use the green banking applications? And also assesses the relationship between the level of awareness and level of usage. And it assesses the impact of demographic variables also. Just want to know the difference. That's all. Then, with the review of literature, it is proven that existing studies provide inconclusive evidence on the structural relationship between this awareness dimensions and usage and the role of demographic factors. And it doesn't explain why this e-banking usage does not translate to intentional green adoption. So this study is focusing on empirically testing this awareness and usage levels with this SEM framework with from a sample of 540 customers to have a focus on these things where the gap exists. And with the research methodology, the sample is 540 bank customers from 6 major banks across 3 cities in Kerala. And data collection was done with structured questionnaire with 5-point Likert scale and using this primary and secondary data sources. And statistical tools were also used. Then descriptive statistics, then SPSS software, AMOS, then using this reliability analysis, CFA, SEM, one-way ANOVA as the test was used. And the conceptual model and the hypothesis was just the environmental awareness and general awareness contributes to overall customer awareness on green banking. And this has a relationship to usage or adoption or green banking. That is the main focus or the conceptual model for the study. And analyzing this demographic profile of the sample, we can see like we have this female dominated profile who are highly educated and within the age group of 31-40 years and who are salaried also, so that we expect above average digital literacy here. And from the key descriptive findings, it is understood that most of them know the term green banking through bank statements, ATM and all, but bank officials rarely mentioned it. And they have a high banking usage tendency also because they use ATM cards, online, mobile, everything they uses. And regarding this e-banking and green banking, there comes a awareness adoption gap because they don't know how to link this e-banking to green banking. And most of them disagree that the e-banking reduces paper and it helps environment. They don't know about that. And they cite security concerns as the main barrier not to move towards this. Then regarding the measurement model validation for CFA, reliability analysis proved that it is within the threshold. So it is reliability is accepted. And also the other model fit indices is within the threshold set. So it's excellent, proven to be excellent. Then here the study focuses on this awareness and usage. So general awareness and environmental awareness, these constructs paves the way for this overall awareness. But more of, when we compare both the awareness, functional knowledge, like the general awareness, which explains the awareness on this green banking application, is more than the environmental awareness. So there lacks the environmental knowledge of the customers. And regarding this awareness adoption level, when we use this Z-test results, here it is found that like NPS score for awareness was high, but for usage it was low. So awareness was excellent among the customers, but the usage was not that excellent, or it is just proven to be in a good level. Then regarding the structural equation model, it is proven that the overall customer awareness is connected to or related, or it can lead to usage or adoption of green banking given the test results, so that we can accept this hypothesis since the customer awareness significantly and positively influences this green banking adoption. But 44% explained variance provides clear case for banks that they have to focus more on this awareness creation among the customers. And regarding this demographic analysis, when we come to this ANOVA and the other test results, we are concluding that here the awareness level, we can see for gender, the males have significantly higher environmental awareness, but for age, it is highly significant. For gender, it is only for environmental awareness, but age is highly significant for all the groups, and the lowest group is found to be the 20-30 age group. Then education, it is significant only for environmental awareness. Then occupation, it is highly significant. So age and occupation is proven to be highly significant for the variables. And coming to this theoretical and managerial implications, this theoretically, we can say that if this study or the analysis provides or extends this technology acceptance model or the theory of planned behavior to this green banking context. Then awareness, it's just general because general awareness is stronger predictor than the environmental awareness. and the disputes that the youth always adopt for this green adoption. It is practically proven to be wrong, because here it needs override the generational attitudes, because the most of them which belongs to age group 21-30 is using 31-40 is using more green banking applications. And here there is a suggestion, future models should include this perceived security and perceived financial benefits of using green banking. And for managerial implications, we can say the banks have to focus more on reframing the e-banking as green. They can use any other advertisement, the promotional strategy for that. Then they have to address the security concerns. Then always they have to retain the staff, because when training staff, they know the staff are aware about the term green banking, but beyond that level they don't know anything. So they have to retrain the staff again. Then they need to target the campaigns for this students and the salaried or professionals in two different ways. Then to conclude, we can say this customer awareness based on the focus of the study, we are concluding remarks is that customer awareness significantly influences this green banking adoption, but still 44% variance is there. Then an awareness adoption gap exists. As the review of literature explains, an awareness adoption gap exists. Excellent awareness, but not on that excellent is their adoption behavior. Then the e-banking disconnect is there, because majority of them use e-banking, but they are not aware that this e-banking paves the way to green banking, or it is connected. Then when we see this demographic profile, salaried and professional groups lead adoption. So that youth who's in 20-30 years, they are not contributing towards the sustainability, or they are not focused on sustainability, so it has to be studied. So regarding this future research, we can conduct either longitudinal studies, qualitative methods can be applied. Then it has to be generalized, it has to be applied to this wider geographical locations. Then this is just based on Kerala. Then it has to be applied outside Kerala also. Then adding perceived security and perceived financial benefits. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, ma'am. Do we have any questions?
It was nice presentation, Dr. Bhagyalakshmi.
Thank you.
So I have a query. Actually, see, now everyone is adopted with this e-banking, mobile banking. How we will bring in awareness about green banking?
Okay, ma'am, actually that is the concern. That was my concern, because I'm very interested in this banking services. So actually it was my concern, because when we approach customers, they don't know how to use ATM cards and all, but they are not aware like green banking. They have heard about this green banking and all, which is sustainable, which is focusing on environment. But to create awareness, banks are also like they have a lot of work, and they are not interested to promote this green banking. That is the actual fact happening in this banking sector. And actually before I think in 2015-16 also, they used to introduce this solar powered ATMs and all. But now it is reducing. The rates of installing the solar powered ATMs is reducing. So that is a fact that banks are also not promoting this green banking. If they have been trying to promote green banking, it will be a success among the customers.
From where you have used data for analysis purpose?
Data has been collected from the customers, ma'am. From across Kerala, 3 districts were chosen. And
Since the primary data?
Since primary data, yes, ma'am.
Good, very good. So that is something which is like make research authentic also. What were the parameters you have used?
I have used this environmental awareness, some questions which is related to whether they are using this ATM, they are using paper, the slip which they are getting from the ATM, or are they using kiosk for this passbook, ma'am? Yeah. So those questions were included just to get the awareness level. Are they, aware about that?
Okay. I am like the only implementation cost and awareness is something which will bring this model to a great level. Your project is good, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Do we have any other questions?
will your study be able to recommend on what is the best way to increase the number of people aware on the usage of the green banking?
Okay, ma'am. Actually, we need to focus on different types of customers. Like if there are women, if there are female customers or male customers or between the age groups also, we need to make a targeted study. Like in what way they can be influenced to use this green banking. And that way we have to target and create the promotional strategies just to make them understand the effects of using this paperless banking, e-banking and all. Sorry, ma'am, you're on mute.
Then from there, if you will be able to get the profile of your respondents, that is a better way to determine also what specific factors can influence or encourage these people to use mobile banking or the green banking.
It can be
Okay,
like a
that's
yes.
good. You have
Yeah,
you really to get the profile because they are segmented, so they are have different preferences, they have different reasons, they have different perception. That's good. You have
yes.
really to include the profile to determine the factors. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for your presentation, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now moving on to our next presenter. I'd like to call upon Ma'am Rakchan and Indam to present her paper on the title Learning Wellbeing and Academic Burnout Signal Analytics for Assessing Pseudo Depression Risk Among University Students. Do you have here with us, ma'am?
Yes. Yun, sasamayin mo niya eh. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rashanin Intam. Today, I'm happy to present my research titled Learning Well-being and Academic Burnout Signal Analytics for Assessing Pseudo-Depression Risk Among University Students from the University of Hayao. Let's start with the background. Student well-being is increasingly important in Thai higher education. University learning requires mental readiness, motivation, and the ability to cope with academic pressure. Currently, Thai students face heavy academic burden, continuous evolution, and adjustment to university life. This condition can lead to emotional exhaustion and learning withdrawal with a sign of academic burnout because burnout is linked to a decline in academic performance. It should be viewed as a warning sign of early mental health risk rather than just a learning behavior problem. Therefore, this study aims to examine learning well-being, academic burnout, and pseudo-depression risk among university students of Hayao. Our objectives are to analyze the level of burnout and pseudo-depression risk using descriptive analysis and to identify factors associated with the risk using diagnostic analysis. Moving on to the literature review. First, learning well-being includes mental readiness, learning satisfaction, and engagement. Academic burnout negatively affect this by causing emotional exhaustion and reduced motivation. Second, we look at pseudo-depression. We frame this as an emotional risk factor that mimics depression, including symptoms like sadness, anxiety, and stress. However, it should not be interpreted as a medical diagnosis. The DS21 is a suitable tool for screening these symptoms to help describe risk level for preventive care. Third, we apply educational data analytics. This approach uses student data to understand learning behavior and well-being factors. We use descriptive analysis to summarize burnout score and risk levels, and diagnostic analysis to identify variables associated with the risk. The goal is to describe risk pattern, not to make clinical judgment or causal conclusion. This slide illustrates our research framework. The input include demographic and academic information, burnout signal, and pseudo-depression risk from the DAS-21. The data processing involves data collection, cleaning, preparation, and analysis. We use descriptive and diagnostic approaches to generate outputs like learning, well-being profile, and key risk factors. Throughout the process, we strictly follow ethical guidelines such as informed consent and data protection. For our methodology, this is quantitative study using educational data analytics. The sample consists of 40 University of Payao students with complete data. The research instrument included a general information survey, the OLBS model to measure academic fatigue and disengagement, and the DSS-21 to measure depression, anxiety, and stress. Data analysis was done using descriptive. ตรงไหน Sorry. Descriptive ถึงไหนแล้ววะ Statistic and diagnostic analysis. We ensure that all results are reported in aggregate form to maintain confidentiality. Now let's look at the result. Table 1 shows the student characteristic. The majority, the 40 participants were female at 77.5%, with an average of 21.4 years. Most students were in their third or fourth year. Their academic performance was high, with an average GPA of 3.44. Also, the most expected career was entrepreneurship or owning a business. Table 2 shows the academic burnout signal. The overall burnout was at a moderate level with an average score of 2.21. Notably, academic exhaustion score higher than learning disengagement, meaning fatigue is the dominant issue here. Table 4 presents the emotional risk level. Stress has the highest average score. More importantly, the assessment found that actually 50% of the students show mild to extremely severe signs of pseudo-depression risk. Table 4 reviewed the diagnostic analysis. We found that all academic burnout signals were positively correlated with depression, anxiety, and stress. The strongest correlation between academic exertion and stress. Table 5 compared the normal group with the risk group. As you can see, students in the pseudo-depression risk group had clearly higher scores in academic exertion, learning disengagement, and overall burnout, as well as much higher anxiety and stress level. Based on this result, we can discuss a few key points. The moderate level of burnout, driven mainly by fatigue rather than learning withdrawal, suggests that students are struggling with accumulated pressure. Finding that half of students have pseudo-depression risk is something that should be taken seriously. The strong relationship between fatigue and stress confirm that analyzing student data can effectively help university identify at-risk group early without having to wait for clinical diagnosis. In conclusion, students show a moderate level of academic burnout, with fatigue being higher than withdrawal. Half of them face mild to high pseudo-depression risk, which is strongly linked to their burnout levels. These analytical approaches provide a great preliminary guideline for supporting student learning well-being. However, the student had limitation. The sample size was 40 students using self-reported questionnaire, making the findings specific to University of Phayao. The result not generalizable or suitable for clinical diagnosis. Future study should expand the sample size, collect longitudinal data, and develop data-driven screening tool. That brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for attention.
Thank you for your presentation, ma'am. Do we have any questions?
You mentioned a while ago that the methodology that you will use is more of quantitative. Am I right? You just use questionnaire.
Yes.
Yes.
This is a very important study, and I guess it will give you more information if you have used the qualitative method. But since you have conducted this study already, am I right? This is a finished paper, right? You're done with this.
Not
right?
finished.
It's not
Not yet
It's not
finished.
finished now. Yes.
So this is only a proposed study. So you have not given the paper yet? Not yet?
Yes.
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 Oh, so what we can do here is you add another methodology, which is interview.
Yes.
Yes.
Because the more that you can get more information about these students, because you're talking about depression, pseudo depression, right? So this is very important. Anxiety. So these people, you have to really listen and hear their point of view. So you just add that. That is my recommendation. You just add a qualitative part, which is in a form of an interview. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your commendation. That is a start for the next step. The next step we have to collect more data to apply
You have to
for
increase also the number of
predictive.
respondents. Yes, number of
Yes,
students.
thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yes, thank you very much.
I don't have any question, just a suggestion that the data size you used is very small, like only 40 participant data
14.
you. So
14,
it's
yes.
good if you
Yes,
explore
14.
more data so that your model will become more precise.
This only 10% for now, and we plan to collect 400 data at the University of Phayao to apply the data to create the predictive model in the future.
Okay.
Thank you for your
Do you
presentation.
have any question, please?
Since there are no more questions, we'll be going forward with the next presenter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I'd like to call upon Ma'am Pani Sara Paksasuk to present her paper on the title Student Behavioral Data Analytics, Descriptive and Diagnostic Analysis of Factors Associated with Second-Hand Fashion Consumption in the Digital Era. Do we have you here with us, ma'am?
Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Panisara Paksasuk. Today, I would like to present my research entitled Student Behavioral Data Analytics,
descriptive and diagnostic analysis of factors associated with secondhand fashion consumption in the digital era. Let's begin with the background. The fast fashion industry has created significant environmental problems due to the large amount of textile waste generated by excessive clothing consumption. As a result, secondhand clothing has become a sustainable alternative that helps reduce waste and promote more responsible consumption. The importance of this study can be summarized into two main points. First, the consumption of secondhand clothing contributes to reducing the volume of waste generated by fast fashion products. Second, the practice of purchasing and consuming secondhand clothing supports sustainable consumption by promoting the efficient and responsible use of resources. Next, I will discuss the research problem. Some consumers are still concerned about the quality of secondhand clothing. In addition, people with high environmental awareness may not always choose secondhand clothing. Therefore, this study aims to investigate the relationship between environmental awareness and secondhand clothing purchase intention, as well as develop a machine learning model to predict purchasing behavior. The study was conducted with 40 undergraduate students from the University of Phayao who had previously purchased secondhand clothing. Next, I will discuss the literature reviews. Student behavioral data analytics in digital learning context. This concept helps analyze students' digital behaviors and decision-making patterns. In this study, it is used to understand how students make decisions when buying secondhand fashion online. Descriptive and diagnostic analytics. Descriptive and diagnostic analytics help us understand consumers' behaviors by showing what consumers do and why they do it. In this study, these approaches are used to analyze students' secondhand fashion consumption and identify the factors influencing their purchase decisions. Secondhand fashion consumption and sustainability in the digital era. Secondhand fashion consumption in the digital era is influenced by factors such as value, quality, reviews, social media, and sustainability. It also supports the circular economy by extending product life cycles and reducing environmental impact. This conceptual framework consists of 5 main stages. First, data are collected through questionnaires. Second, the variables are categorized into demographic, behavioral, environmental sustainability, and social influence factors. Third, the data are analyzed using descriptive and diagnostic analysis. Fourth, the results are used to identify factors related to secondhand clothing consumption. Finally, the findings provide recommendations for sustainable consumption and future decision-making. This study used a quantitative research approach. Data were collected from 40 University of Phayao students through a 5-point Likert scale questionnaire. The collected data were checked, coded, and analyzed using descriptive and diagnostic analysis. In addition, all data were handled in accordance with research ethics and confidentiality requirements. Now, I would like to present the first research finding regarding student profiles and secondhand clothing consumption patterns. The results show that all 40 participants had experience purchasing secondhand clothing. Most respondents were female third-year students with a monthly income between 5,001 and 10,000 baht. Regarding purchasing behavior, physical stores were the most preferred channel, followed by online platforms. The findings also revealed that product quality was the most important factor influencing purchase decisions, followed by positive attitudes, perceived value, reputation, and sustainability considerations. Next, I would like to present students' perception of key consumption factors. The results show that students place the highest importance on product quality, followed by positive attitude towards second-hand clothing and frugality. Environmental responsibility by limitation and sustainable fashion were also rated at a high level. In contrast, social influence and social media influencers had only a moderate impact on student purchasing decisions. Next, I will present the factors associated with purchasing behavior and purchase intention. The results show that product quality was the most influential factor affecting second-hand clothing purchase behavior and purchase intention. This was followed by attitude, frugality, and purchasing power. In addition, brand reputation, environmental responsibility, and sustainable fashion also play important supporting roles in purchase decisions. However, the influence of social media influencers was relatively low compared to product quality and perceived value. Next, I would like to discuss the findings of this study. The results indicate that students' purchasing decisions are mainly influenced by product quality, perceived value, attitudes, and purchasing power, rather than social trends. Environmental responsibility, brand reputation, and sustainable fashion also contribute to purchase decisions. Therefore, promoting second-hand clothing should focus on quality, trust, value for money, and environmental benefits. In conclusion, this study found that product quality, perceived value, attitude, purchasing power, brand reputation, and sustainability concerns are the key factors influencing second-hand clothing consumption among students. These findings can help support sustainable consumption and provide useful insights for future research and business development. Despite these findings, this study has some limitations. This research is limited by its sample of 40 University of Payal students, making the findings suitable for identifying preliminary trends rather than broad generalizations. Future studies should include larger and more diverse samples as well as additional data sources such as interview or actual purchase records to improve the validation of factors and the development of predictive models. That concludes my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your presentation, ma'am. Do you have any questions?
It was nice presentation. I don't have any question.
Do you have any other questions?
I'm just um, concerned about the very small number of participants. Because if there are only 40, it will not be very much reliable. Unless this is or the initial stage, number of respondents that you will have. It is the quality product and thriftiness that comes first. So are you going to only have 40 students as your respondents?
No.
Panisara? How many? How many do you plan to have? Kasi with the number of population of the entire university, 40 is not an ideal number of respondents.
In future, I will use 4,100 participants.
So you really have to add the number of respondents. And you will notice you will have, what do you mean by 4,000? Is it 400 or 4,000? I don't know what is 4,000.
400.
Because
ma'am.
there you have only 40.
Yes.
400 total. And you will notice when you get all the 400 respondents, you will have a different data. And you will have to work again on your interpretation, analysis, because the data will be very, very much, or the respondents will be very, very much, or the responses or data will be very, very much different. Okay, from the 40. Thank you.
Thank you for your concern. I will improve it.
Thank you for your presentation, ma'am. Now moving on to our next presenter. I would like to call upon Ma'am Duangjai Pongsawan to present her paper on the title Using Student Pet Interaction Data to Support Mental Health Well-being Prediction in Universities. Will you have you here with us, ma'am?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Duangjai Pongsawan. Today, I am pleased to present our research title, Using Student Pet Interaction Data to Support Mental Well-being Prediction in University. This is paper ID 356 from the School of ICT University of Payao. We are honored to share our findings here at the TIBS 2026 conference. Tracking academic grades, we are now in testing behavioral data and well-being signal to support student health. This is critical because student state have become a significant issue, defined by academic workload, project, and family expectation. However, we believe human-pet interaction act as a psychological buffer, providing emotional support and reducing loneliness during high-pressure period like exam. Our study is guided by three main objects. First, analyze student baseline data and there are specific pet interaction patterns. Second, describe the level for pet attainment and the overall well-being for the student. Third, diagnose which specific factors are most associated with their state level. Our study is built on three pillars: educational data analysis using behavioral data and well-being beyond grades to support students. Student state, recognizing it as a multi-factor outcome for daily life. Human-pet interaction, prior studies confirm that strong pet attachment is linked to improved mood and higher morale. Our framework follows a five pillars. Step 1, data sourcing for 40 student questionnaire. Step 2 is data population. In this state, we found on cleaning the data and calculation score for three key scales, CCAS, to measure the bond and emotional confirm students get from their pet, PSS10, to evaluate how students personally perceive that state level, and ST5 to screen for actual daily state sum. Step 3 and 4, descriptive and diagnosis analysis to find pattern and structure. Step 5, finding an application for university support system while maintaining strict ethics and data government. Our methodology focuses on association rather than direct causality. We use confluency and mean statistic or descriptive and for descriptive analysis to summarize tests. For diagnosis analysis, we compare factors such as pet type and interaction time is to identify key trends associated with student well-being. Our sample All 40 students was 55 male with an average age of 21 and 75 were from digital business major. Regarding pet, 65 interacting with cats and 62.5 consider them family pet. The most common daily interaction was 30 minutes to 1 hour. We observe a high attainment high state pattern. The CCAS was high at 3.57 hours or 4, with 64 students showing the higher attainment level. However, 65 still reported moderate state on the PSS-10 scale. ST5 score was equipped with 32.5, showing low state, and another 32.5 showing very high state. This shows that even a strong pattern cannot fully eliminate university state. Our diagnosis 10 highlight that time is key. Students spending most that 3 hours a day with pet showing a long state 10. Pet type, interestingly, cat owner reported higher state sum on the ST5 scale 8.31. Cat dog owner 5.08. Ownership this with their own pet has lower perceived state than those with family pet. Surprisingly, high attainment CCAS did not show a clean state reduction pattern in this group. Our findings confirm the pets are a wider source from confirmed, but pet attainment alone does not fully expand state level as student state income. This aligned with learning analysis, we use this behavioral data to identify at least students and link them to university support program. In conclusion, students show strong attainment to their pet, but state remain as concern. Factors like interaction time, pet type, and ownership status influence this level. This finding provide an baseline for university to develop better monitoring and counseling program. Our study here has 3 main limitations: the small sample size of 40 students, dependency on self-reported questionnaire and which may broad by it, and the fact that we found association render them direct causality. For the future, we plan to expand the scope to most universities and 5. We want to advance to predictive modeling for real-time monitoring and conduct longitudinal study to track state changes during exam versus holiday. Thank you for your attention. I am now happy to take any success.
Again, just like the recommendation on the other presenter and researcher, kindly add or increase the number of participants or respondents, because 40 is not a good number that can represent a sample size for the entire population. That's it. Thank you.
I would like to call Ma'am Papimon Novichai to present her paper on the title WARC Learning Style Data and Ergonomic Analytics for Screening Officer in Progress among University Students.
Everyone can see my slide.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, now the screen is visible. You may start with the presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Papimon Novichai. I'm a student from the University of Payal. Today, I will present our research paper ID 357 titled Work Learning Style Data and Economic Analytics for Screening of Free Syndrome List among University Students. To begin with introduction, first, digital learning goal. Many Thai universities now use online and blended learning. As a result, students spend more time using computer, tablet, and smartphone for studying. Second, health concern. However, prolonged screen time and poor posture, and poor student posture may increase the risk of office syndrome, especially among students studying in dormitory or at home. Finally, research opportunity. Student data can be used not only to understand learning behaviors, but also to identify health risks related to digital learning. This study had three main objectives. First, student information. To study student general information, work learning style, and learning behaviors. Second, risk assessment to assess office syndrome risk level using economic data. Finally, risk factor to identify factors related to learning style, learning behaviors, and device use that are associated with office syndrome risk. Next, literature review. First, work learning style in digital learning environment. Work classify learn into visual, auditory, read or write, and kinesthetic. Learning style influence how students interact with digital learning material and device. Work helps expand differences in learning behaviors in online environment. Second, economic and office syndrome risk among students. Poor posture, prolonged sitting, and inappropriate workstation setup increase the risk of musculoskeletal discomfort. Previous study reported neck, shoulder, back, and wrist pain. Setup increase the risk of Previous study reported neck, shoulder, back, and wrist pain among students using digital device for long periods. The ROSA assessment is widely used to evaluate economic risk factor. Third, educational data analytics for student health risk screening. Learning analytics can be used to understand both learning behaviors and digital well-being. Descriptive analytics summarize learner characteristics and risk level. Diagnostic analytics identify factors associated with office syndrome risk. This research framework has 5 steps. First, data collection. We collected data using the student data, work questionnaire, ROSA assessment, and office syndrome risk survey. Second, data preparation. The data were screening, cleansing, transformation, and integration. Third, data analysis, descriptive and diagnostic analysis were conducted. Fourth, interpretation and diagnostic. Students were classified into different office syndrome risk level and key findings were identified, such as low risk, moderate risk, and high risk. Finally, outcome and application. The findings were used to screening to economic recommendation, learning support strategy, the last policy, and program development. Next, research methodology. Participant and data source. Undergraduate students at the University of Phayao who regularly use digital technology for learning. Data were collected through questionnaire completed by eligible student. Information include demographic, work, learning style, economic behaviors, device use, environment, and office syndrome. Next, research instrument. General information and learning behavior questionnaire. Work learning style assessment, visual and auditory, read or write and kinesthetic. ROSA ergonomic assessment, office syndrome, risk assessment. Next, data collection procedure. Participants were informed about the study objective, confidentiality, and data use. Questionnaire were completed and reviewed for perfection. Data were prepared for future analysis. Finally, data preparation and analysis method. Data cleaning, coding, and validation were performed before analysis. WARC and LOSA score were calculated and classified into list categories. Descriptive analytic frequency, percentage, mean, and standard deviation. Diagnostic analytic experiment relationship among learning style, device use, economic factor, and office syndrome list. Result, table 1 show the student characteristic and work learning style. Most participants were female and aged between 21 and 23 years. The majority prefer classroom learning. Read or write was the most common. Work learning style at 30%, followed by kinesthetic at 25%. Table 2 show the economic list and office syndrome screening result. Overall, 77.5% of students were classified as having moderate to high risk of office syndrome. The most common risk factors were smartphone use for more than 4 hours per day and poor economic condition. Table 3 shows the diagnostic analysis of factors related to office syndrome list. Diagnostic analysis indicated that office syndrome list was influenced by learning behaviors, device use, and economic condition. Students in branded learning environment tended to have higher risk level. Extensive smartphone use and poor posture were the strongest contributors. For discussion, first, office syndrome list should be assessed using work learning behaviors and economic factors rather than learning style alone. Second, students in branded learning environment show a higher proportion of risk. Third, major risk factors included smartphone use more than 4 hours a day, poor posture and economic condition. Finally, the findings demonstrate that learning analytics can integrate learning and well-being data to support student-centered intervention. In conclusion, learning style alone were insufficient to explain office syndrome risk, economic condition, and prolonged device use play a more important role. By integrating work, LOSA, and behaviors data, this framework provides a practical approach for early risk screening and university health promotion. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm now open to any comment you may have.
How many number of students are you going to conduct in your study? How many are your respondents, student?
40.
Please do not stick with 40, huh? Kindly add or increase the number of participants. Either you use the Likert scale to get the sample size, okay?
And with this, we come to the end of the session. I sincerely thank our authors for the excellent presentation and contribution to the session, and all our participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough. We, on behalf of the whole team, thank you for your support during the virtual conference. We'll be happy to have you in the next version in 2027. All the presenters will be getting their digital certificates within 2 working days. The publication will be live within 7 to 8 months, so kindly cooperate with the team of TIBS 2026. I also thank both the session chairs, Professor Karina Ditan and Dr. Samisha Shukla for chairing this session. I would like to present a token of appreciation to both the chairs on behalf of Team TIPS 2026 and Global Knowledge Research Foundation partners. I also request both of them to share their remarks with the participants. Ma'am, would you like to say a few words to the participants?
Are we going to have, or is this going to be shared in our email certificate?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Samiksha, would you like to say something to the participants?
Thank you everyone for attending and sharing the knowledge that you have. Please take note that all of us learn from each other. And at the same time, please take note of the suggestion and the recommendations and apply it to improve your paper. Again, thank you. Travel safe. And we hope to see you in our next activity or event. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So thank you all the participants. Thank you Ashutosh for coordinating it wonderfully, and all the participants for your research presentation. Only suggestion is like when you are having the data set associated, I will recommend that please get the data at least like a sufficient size data, so sample size, so that you will get a better result, and you can justify it being a research paper. So that is something which I request few of the participants who have used data set in their research work. Apart from that, there were very good presentations in the complete set of presentation, and I feel they can enhance it and they can go for further publication with the add-on suggestions which has been given by madam, and few suggestions which I have given. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Just before we end this session, I request you all to kindly switch on your camera for a quick snapshot of the virtual content. Thank you everyone for joining today. Hope you have a good day.